Good evening and welcome to KiwaniTalk. KiwaniTalk is a Dearborn Kiwanis sponsored show, and it's being held here at Dearborn High School. We've been doing KiwaniTalk for over 29 years now, and we have had some amazing speakers telling about their organization. We just had the mayor of Dearborn on. So I am honored to be here tonight with Julie Kennedy-Carpenter. Julie is, she has had several hats that she has worn over the years, very impressive resume. Right now she is a caseworker at the Salvation Army in Downriver, Wyandotte, and we do a lot of the bell ringing here in Dearborn, in Dearborn Heights, so we are well aware of the Salvation Army. She's also worked in the medical world. I work there now, so I was asking her before we started if she needed a job, because we are hiring. She was also in the state of Michigan corrections officer for 12 years. And she does handle, she was part of that abuse case. I don't know if many people remember about 12 years ago, you said, where there was female inmates were being abused, and they won a $1 million, $111 million lawsuit. So Julie does a lot of things, so I really can't pinpoint one thing, but I want Julie to share who you are, how you got started in everything that you've done here.
Well, it's funny because everything I've done in my life has played into the next part of my life. Like the first 12 years I was working in the medical field. Then I went to become an officer for the state of Michigan, and a lot of the medical things that I learned and practiced, I ended up doing for the prisons too. And then after I testified for the Department of Justice about the abuse of the female prisoners, I went on to school and became a substitute teacher for about 12 years, and then I finished my degree for social work. And I've been doing that for a few different agencies over the years.
So the inmates, tell me a little bit about like life for a woman in prison.
Oh, it's very much different than a life for a man in a prison. Big difference between the prisons. Men are very easy to handle. I used to have a 220-man housing unit with myself and 2 junior officers. They're very easy to work with for the most part, and I always did the high-level security ones. However, women are a whole different ballgame. At that time, I had been living out in Adrian, working at their 2 prisons out there, but I moved back home because I had older relatives dying and I had to come home and handle things. So we moved back home. I went to work for the females, and I was just shocked from the first day on the difference and the things that went on that should never have gone on.
You mean going on as far as the way they've been treated, or the way they treat each other and others?
Both. But yes, definitely the way they were treated. It was not professional at all. And I had several old friends who were working there that I had worked with at other prisons, and they let me know from the first day on that what was going on.
So was there there was a lawsuit and everything. How did a group of women form knowing that they were being abused or incorrectly treated, and then there was a group of them that formed an alliance to, obviously working with other attorneys to get something like this put forward and then through the case?
They were trying to get the word out about what was going on. I know during the 5 years I was at this particular prison, I also worked at another female prison, but at this particular prison, I knew things were wrong from the very first day, as I said. So I always warned everybody, you know, I told my supervisor the things that were happening. They said, yes, we know. Nothing we can do about it. But I warned the people that were doing it, if you keep continuing to do this, and I'm asked, I will tell the truth. And this is the way I had been so-called raised at the other prisons. With the officers, the older officers raise the younger officers and teach us this standard of behavior. And so I let them know that I'm not going to lie for you, I will tell the truth. Well, after I'd been there 5 years, the Department of Justice came in and started doing depositions. I was the first officer that told the truth. A lot of them did not tell what they knew.
Were you afraid when you're telling the truth that you could lose your job because you told the truth?
Oh yeah, I knew I probably would. But I'm a Christian first and foremost. I was raised by a father who was a cop, and I'm a feminist. I didn't like what was happening. It wasn't right.
Right.
The women were sentenced for their crimes. They were not sentenced to be raped, impregnated, treated badly, hit, things like that. They were not sentenced for that.
Regardless of the situation.
Regardless.
So you stayed there. What made you want to move on to your next level?
Well, like I said, I testified for the DOJ and also for the prisoners' attorneys. Almost immediately afterwards, they warned me that I would have to go off because I had death threats.
Oh.
And I even received calls like from the Attorney General's office and places like that. So I did go off for 2 years. And, you know, I received my disability pay. I had always gone to school part-time. So I just continued going to school and earning my degrees and testified off and on for about 10 years.
Wow.
Did talks like at U of M out in Ann Arbor. There's been articles written all over the world about the case. The law was changed in this state and 2 others because of this case.
Oh, nice.
And we also did a Dateline special.
Oh.
However, when they found out that, when the Department of Corrections found out that I was going to be the one on part of the program, they pulled a fast one and had the director go on and kind of admit that everything was true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he had more pull.
Yeah.
So you left there, and you said you then went to school to go. To become a social worker, caseworker.
Well, for a lot of things, I have a lot of interests. So, my first degree is I have a psychology, sociology, and criminal justice degree with a minor in health education. I'm 1 class short of a elementary teaching degree, and I'm 2 classes short of an early childhood teaching degree.
With all that education, you're short a couple classes.
Yeah, I'm going to go back though. But
Okay.
I have several autoimmune diseases, and I had a relapse right after I started graduate school, and I had to drop out.
Yeah, to
And went
get
on
healthy.
disability for a few years until I was able to have some operations done and become healthier and go back to work.
Okay. So now you're at the Salvation Army. What do you do there?
Oh, a little bit of everything. The job was for a caseworker, but I knew they needed a lot more than just caseworker because there are so many problems that people are coming in with. We're very lucky to live in an urban area where there's 120 different nationalities on average, and we encourage everyone to come in. It doesn't matter to us what religion you are, what ethnicity you are, where you live, as long as you're within our Downriver area.
Okay.
So I get a wide variety of problems, everything from brand new immigrants to people losing their jobs, losing their homes. That's a big one right now. Food insecurity. And a lot of unusual problems too.
So I'm sure the COVID probably multiplied.
COVID did a horrible number on Detroit area residents. Where they're still recovering from it.
So what kind of services do you offer through the Salvation Army for
at this
people?
particular one, we have a food pantry. We have community meals. That's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We offer a lot of kids classes, other classes for adults, but I help with just about everything. If someone comes to the door, I have a huge network of social workers. So if I can't handle it, or if it's something beyond my scope, I have a lot of different people to call on.
Okay.
And I only list the very best agencies on my website.
Okay.
There's almost 6,000 social service agencies in Southeast Michigan.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know that. And even social workers,
Yeah.
many of them didn't know it. Because when you're in school, they don't tell you. They maybe tell you 1 or 2 and that's it. And so when I got out of school, I thought, you know, this is really silly. Even the social workers don't know where to go to get help.
Yeah.
So I started doing all the research.
Okay.
And that's what I'm really good at. I started my master's in library science to become a genealogist because I'm really good at research.
Oh, okay.
So I just thought, you know, this is silly. Let's put this on a website where the social workers can find it.
Okay.
Well, pretty soon, regular people started using it, and I was hearing from them, and I thought, you know, that's a great idea. Let's put it out there for everybody.
So you keep talking about putting it out to the website. You have a special website for, you want to tell us the website
all the
address?
different, yes, it's called julieslist.homestead.com. But there's a lot of copycat websites out there now, so I usually tell people go to the Facebook page.
Okay.
And on the Facebook page, there is the direct address, so you can click on that and go directly to it. It has about 95 or 97 pages now.
Wow.
And I
So
still
you have
more.
a Facebook page that's called Julie's
List.
or Facebook / Julie's List?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Yeah, always
didn't
have
know what to
figure out-
call this,
yeah.
so my pastor named it.
Julie's
He said,
List.
just stay simple, Julie's
So
List.
give us a couple ideas of what's on that list.
Well, on the list itself is just everything you can imagine. Everything from free medical care, free dental care, immigration resources, crisis pregnancy and pregnancy resources, emergency housing, regular housing. Oh, just so many things. It's just hard to.
So nobody has to get like screened. So if I go out
No.
there free dental, I just go in and all you're given is like some names of doctors that
Oh
offer.
no, I'm giving you the agencies,
Okay.
what they do, who qualifies, where they're at.
Wow.
It covers 6 counties: Lenawee, Oakland, Macomb, Monroe, Wayne, and Washtenaw.
Okay.
So
So
anybody
you're
in
not
Southeast
like
Michigan.
Angie's List where you can get someone to do cements but it costs you.
Oh no, no.
Okay. Yours is just a
No.
website out there that they can
Yes.
just for free.
Totally free. I don't make any money off of it.
Okay. How much time do you spend making that list?
I have spent thousands of hours on this
Okay.
over the years.
Yeah.
I started this during the last recession in 2009.
Oh.
And it's just gone on since then.
And I've never heard of it until Child's Hope, one of our members in Kiwanis, Romana was telling me that there's a Julie's List out there, and I'm like, okay, what's a Julie's List? So, how are you getting the word out there that there's Julie's List?
Most of it has just been word of mouth. And now most of the social workers in Southeast Michigan use it, as well as the volunteer religious organizations.
Okay.
And I've never been one to seek publicity for it. Every place that has written up or done something on it has always come to me. So it's always been word of mouth.
And they come to you and they give you all the information so you can put it out on your
Right.
list.
And I thoroughly check out each agency.
Okay.
I only put the very best out there. And I still have many more to put, but I investigate first.
Okay.
And I know the social workers from the different agencies. I get to know them and all.
Okay.
So when I'm sending you someplace, I'm sending you to the best of the best.
So when somebody looks for community service volunteer time, the best of the best is Kiwanis of Dearborn.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I just wanted
Yes.
to put that in there. So we can be on your list too.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go, we're going to go look at it. It's called Julie's List.
Homestead.com.
Homestead.com.
But actually, there's just everything on there you could possibly think of to help.
Okay.
Everything you could imagine.
Okay, well, we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about, I think, just you and what you've done. You've got many hats that you're wearing. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Don't forget, if you get hungry during intermission, we do have peanuts available through the Kiwanis Club of Dearborn.
Who is a kid? Well, that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.
Hi, and welcome back. My name is Renee, and I'm here to continue the rest of the show with Julie, but I just wanted to let you know that we are in the beginning of our peanut sale, and we will be out all weekend on the different streets and at the different Greenland stores and Fresh Market. But if you don't get a chance to get out, no problem. We have an address that you can send a check to if you want to, or if you want to volunteer, give us a call, give us a shout at the address listed on the screen. But don't forget, these are great peanuts and you want to share them with everyone you know. So welcome back, Julie. Yes. So we've talked about the different things, and in talking with you during our quick commercial, I can now understand why you are doing the things that you do. You had mentioned the child shake syndrome.
Shaken baby syndrome.
Shaken baby syndrome. I keep thinking of shake and bacon. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Shaken baby syndrome. So I've heard of that, and I'm sure a lot of other people have. But tell us what happened.
Well, usually you only hear about it when children die from it, because the vast majority of children that are shaken do die. The ones who do live usually end up in a nursing home for the rest of their life. I always knew something was wrong. When I was a child, I didn't talk till I was 4 years old.
Really?
Now people think that's hysterical because that's all I do is talk.
Yeah, you're like me. They tell me all the time, you talk too much, okay?
But I was mute for the first 4 years.
Because you didn't know any different? You didn't know that you should talk, or you?
No, because I was so intimidated by the violence and what was going on.
Okay.
I had selective mutism, and I just refused to speak.
Wow.
I finally started speaking at 4. Okay. Went to school, kindergarten up. I started having a little issue with dyslexia, which runs in my family.
Okay.
Not a big deal. I worked myself out of it. I worked at it really hard, and I'm a great reader today. But I also had a lot of trouble with numbers, and back then we didn't know these things. There's a learning disability called dyscalculia. It's not very common, and it's almost always due to a head injury. But when I was growing up, no teacher knew about it. Right. And even when I was going to education school to become a teacher, they weren't teaching about it at several of the universities I went to. It wasn't until I got to Eastern, and Eastern does a wonderful job teaching their teachers about different. Yes, and they did a wonderful job. But I had no clue why I couldn't do math. I kept turning my letters around. Oh. So that caused a lot of problem in high school. I was straight A's except for math and science. I could not do those two. When I was a little bit older and an officer at Adrian, I started going to Siena Heights College. And one of the nuns noticed it, and she said to me, "I think you have something called dyscalculia." And I had never heard of that before. So I kept that in mind. When I went back home and started at Eastern Michigan, I told them what they had told me at the other school. And they put me through several days of testing. They say, "You have a really bad case of dyscalculia."
Wow.
And I said, "Well, what causes that?" We don't know, because until recently, they really didn't know.
Right.
Well, I have several autoimmune diseases, so throughout life I've been tested for things like MS and all. And they do the brain scans. But the brain scans have only recently become that thorough where they can actually tell these things. So at 19, I had been sexually attacked by someone when I had car trouble on the street. And they told me at the hospital, I had a concussion. They saw that I had a skull fracture. And they said, "What is this from?" I have no clue where that's from. Asked my mother. She, of course, didn't know a thing about it. But I didn't think anything of it until later on. And in my 30s, I had to have another brain scan, check in for MS again. Same thing. It wasn't until I was 50, which was about 17 years ago, I'm 67 now, that I had a really bad relapse of fibromyalgia, and they did the brain scans again. And by this time, they had become so good that they could actually see the shaken baby.
Wow.
And when I went to get the results, and she told me, I was just literally shocked. I could not believe this. And they explained to me, that's the cause of your dyscalculia. You were shaken at less than 18 months old. You were given a skull fracture at the same time. And
just from shaking you so hard?
Shaking me hard. They figure I was thrown against something. in order to get the fracture.
Yeah.
And I was just in absolute shock
Oh, I bet.
for weeks.
Sure.
You know, very angry because, you know,
Your whole life.
my whole life I've had to not study the things I wanted to study because I couldn't do math. Had a difficult time in class with math. Used to have a problem even writing checks because my numbers would. So it was a big shock to find out that this is what had happened.
So with that, going back to your path that you've taken, it probably made you want to more be involved with abused, whether it's children, adults, whether it's a man or a woman or a child.
Oh, absolutely. I was abused horribly as a child. My father was married 9 times that we know of. I have brothers and sisters from 3 different marriages that I didn't know about till I was 30. A lot of abuse. My first marriage became abusive after a couple of years, and I got that taken care of, and because I swore I would never be abused again. And so all my life I've worked with abused women, or same thing with the prisons. 87% of female inmates are abused before they come to prison. So of course I helped them a great deal, talking to them and counseling them and all. Did Eagle's Nest prison ministry for a number of years, almost 20 years, working again with people who have been abused.
What's the youngest age that you saw in prison as a woman abused?
Oh, I think we had like 15 and 16-year-olds there at one time. Oh yeah. It's quite, matter of fact, what's really sad about women in prison is some of the women who had to kill their abusers in order to get out of the situation are still in prison to this day. And you look at them and they're so horribly disfigured from the abuse that they went through. And it's really, it's so sad because back then there were no laws to protect us. When I was 21 trying to get out of an abusive marriage, the police officers in my town actually told me, until he kills you, there's nothing we can do. You are his property. And I was shocked, you know. Thankfully, because my father had been a police officer, he talked to those officers and they got him out of my house. Most women are not that lucky.
Or know what to do.
Or know what,
Legal,
yes.
what to do.
Luckily, I had not had children yet. I had a good job at a hospital.
They just,
I could take care of myself.
Everything they're told.
Well, I'm unusual. Out of all my siblings, I'm the one who said, no one will ever abuse me again. I will never tolerate this again.
But you had to go through it once to say that.
Exactly, and I had to rise above. And I still every day almost in my office, I get women in there, not only staff, but people coming in trying to get help who come from abusive situations, and I have to counsel them every day. I'm a survivor. You can be one too. You have to rise above. And we will walk through this. And if I have to work with you for a few months and we do so much per week, that's what we'll do.
So through the Salvation Army, there's so many, you and I both know, there's so many people out there that need the help. There's just not enough.
Oh no, there's not enough.
There's not enough people to help what we need.
Absolutely not. And that's why my list comes so much in handy too, because if you need help, you can go on there and find help for any problem at all, domestic abuse to transportation.
It's called Jill's List.
Julie's List.
Julie's. Why do I keep calling you Jill?
I don't know.
Julie's List, and it's Julie's List.
.homestead.com. But it's easier to go to the Facebook page and then go to the website on the Facebook page and click on there because there's so many copycat websites nowadays.
So you don't do, like, when you put lists out there, is it kind of links just for helping, like, get a house, but it's not like I'm disabled and I need someone to shovel my snow.
I do a little bit of everything.
You do a little bit of everything.
Oh yes, and I have a lot of disabled resources on there as well. The Facebook page helps get out the new things as well as the time limited things. And jobs, I put jobs on there too, really good jobs. I don't fool with ones that don't pay well. And I just do so many different things you just would not believe.
So you do this on top of your full-time job?
Yes.
Do you sleep?
Not much. No, and I usually do a lot of volunteer work too, but that's good. I'm going to cut back a little bit on that so I can go back to school.
So I guess I'm kind of curious as to why you can't become a teacher even with everything that you have.
I've been 14 years as a substitute teacher. I've had many job offers from the schools that I worked for. but I cannot pass the state math test.
Oh.
Even though I'll be teaching elementary education.
Yeah.
And when you, in schools today, the teacher teaches her majors or his majors, and then like math, they would go to another teacher.
Yeah.
So even though I would never have to teach math because I can't pass anything past beginning algebra,
You can't.
I can't get my license as a teacher.
Wow.
But I have taught adult students
Okay.
at night.
Oh,
yes.
okay. Okay. Well, this has been a very informative hour or half hour that we've spent together. Again, Julie's list, again, when I thought of that, I'm like, okay, all I envision is a bunch of links and the different, do you categorize
Yes.
them based on the needs?
I keep it extremely simple because this, I could make it, very jazzy and all, but no, the social workers don't have time to fool around.
Right.
Many people are not computer literate. 49%, for instance, of Detroit residents are illiterate.
Right.
So I want to make it very simple so anybody can get the results that they need
Okay.
and the information that they need. So everything's in alphabetical order on the left-hand side.
Okay.
Then I have some extra ones in the middle, extra resources in the middle. And I just keep it very, very simple so anybody can go on there.
Okay.
And a lot of people will not go, for instance, call information centers and ask for for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
So this way they don't have to. They can go right on there in the privacy of their home.
Yeah. Don't have to be
look at
seen.
everything.
Yeah.
And if they have questions, I tell them, come see me at the Salvation Army. I'll be happy to even write you referrals to wherever they have to go.
Okay, so we've had Julie here today. Again, don't be afraid to go on the website. If you want to stay private, you don't want to talk to anybody, all you have to do is go out on her website, go on the Facebook page that she mentioned. You can stay anonymous, but Julie has a list upon list of agencies, places you can get help that don't give you a lot of problems. They're there to help you.
Right.
Julie has been here to help us to be more aware of so many things out in the world. You know, abuse is one of them. I have a problem with that one. I work hard with that one. So I just want to thank you for giving of so many years that you have put into helping so many people.
Well, I think that's why God put me on this earth.
Yeah, I think
I went through a lot of different things, and I can
look where
see
you're
every
at.
day where He puts people in my
Place,
way that need what I have from my past. So
yeah, and it comes around full circle.
Absolutely.
You're getting more than you're giving, I'm sure, and giving more than you're getting, and it's just a wonderful thing that you're doing for the world. For the city that you live in, and for all of us that are here on KiwaniTalk. So I just want to thank you again.
Oh, you're welcome.
For being a part of this. Again, don't forget our peanut sale this weekend. We're going to go till the end of December if you want to jump in and help us out. And it's been a true pleasure.
Oh, thank you for helping me get the word out, because
we'll
so many
help you
people
get the
still
word
need
out.
to know.
Yeah, they definitely need to know. And seeing this, like I said, it goes to 47 different cities. They'll give you a paper where it goes. Share it out with the world.
Oh, absolutely.
We are here to help other people that want to come on and talk about their organization or their business. We are here to help. So thank you, everyone. Hope you have a great evening. Again, my name is Renee. See you next time.